listening to Rabbit Troop Sucks, and we're going to send you on a journey today. A 1985 journey.
Oh my God.
A journey full of crime and waves. A crime wave, some might say. Sam Raimi's crime wave. And in a lot of ways, for the next maybe hour or so, we're going to tell you, in my opinion, what crimes have been committed. I don't know how you feel about that, Mike.
Yeah, no, that's accurate. There's a few crimes that were committed in this movie, several of which involved me watching it.
Yeah, so here's a movie, 1985, director Sam Raimi, super fitting for right now because we just have the Doctor Strange movie dropped to Disney Plus, somewhat recently, and, pretty big in the theaters. Sam Raimi fans clearly know, and one of my favorite series, Evil Dead, and, the original Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. And then we have this film, which you would think, Sam Raimi, okay, maybe it's rudimentary, maybe it's early. And then you have this movie written by the Coen brothers. I never knew the combination existed. I was aware of the film. I knew Sam Raimi had something to do with it. I really didn't know what it was about. But yeah, the Coen brothers being the writers was a surprise to me.
I still don't know what this movie's about.
Yeah, I'm trying to load up a little summary, and it's a pair of whacked-out, cartoon-like exterminator/hitmen kill the owner of a burglar alarm company and stalk the partner who hired them, his wife, and a nerd framed for the murder, who tells the story in flashback from the electric chair. And that comes from IMDb. And that does seem to be what the summary of the film is, if you could puzzle the chaos together.
Yeah, it's funny that they reference it as the villains as being cartoony, because as I was watching it I watched this movie twice, by the way. As I was watching it the first time, I texted you and you asked me how it was. I mentioned that it was like watching a live action cartoon, and I did not know that that's how this movie was built. It's like watching Who Framed Roger Rabbit, but there's no cartoons, but there's cartoon sound effects for everything.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that. It's like Roger Rabbit side notes all throughout. I keep noting this, and that is an accurate assessment. This is very Roger Rabbit-esque, but it's very dirty too. There's kind of a grit, kind of this old, I don't know, it's like you could tell there wasn't a big budget, so everything's slightly darkened. There's that. It doesn't seem like there's a big wardrobe. It doesn't seem like there's big special effects. There's a total grit to this that detracts in a lot of ways for what this movie could have been, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know that this movie could have been much. Sam Raimi billed this as the darkest time of his life.
Yeah, I thought I read some kind of trivia that he basically straight up wants to forget it.
Yeah,
we get Bruce Campbell, a Sam Raimi regular. And something that I read was part of the problem with the film is they didn't want Bruce Campbell in it. I didn't really understand the story.
Yeah, he was meant to be the main character.
Okay.
But they, for whatever, the producers didn't like that, so they expanded the role that he had, which was just supposed to be like a one and done scene. But they expanded the role because Sam Raimi just wanted to hang out with him until filming was over.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I would love to hang out with Bruce Campbell at any point in time. That seems great.
Bruce Campbell's quote about the movie was, "This movie wasn't released; it escaped," which I think is pretty fitting.
Yeah. Well, as we go through it, yeah, there's a lot of ideas escaping. There's some kind of semblance of a story all throughout this. It starts off that, as noted on that IMDb summary, that you get the main character, Ajax, and he is telling this story from prison, and we get this long-winded, I didn't do it, you got the wrong person, let me tell you a little story. And you get, I believe at this point in time, quickly, is this where we also see the nuns?
Yeah, the movie opens, I think, with the nuns, a car full of nuns, just like driving very briskly, and like when I say nuns, they're wearing like the flying nun hat.
Oh yeah, it's comical.
Yeah, and then we see where what's the character's name? You called him
Ajax. That's his last name.
Oh, okay. I wrote down Vic.
It is Vic Ajax.
Vic Ajax, of course. The prison that he's in is called Hudsucker State Penitentiary.
As it would be.
Which, a little foreshadowing. The Hudsucker Proxy was, I think, the next Sam Raimi Coen Brothers team up, because Sam Raimi co-wrote the Hudsucker Proxy, which, of course, the Coen Brothers directed, wrote most of.
They definitely got the better end of that deal.
They did, yeah. But yeah, so we hear that he's up for execution. and we see the classic, like they're leading him down the prison cell. The lights are flickering because apparently this prison executes people just nonstop. And he's oh no, I do have Ajax written down once. Great. And he's pleading his innocence and says, yeah, this is how it went down. I'm going to tell you guys the story.
Right, and it's definitely, if any of you have watched Wayne's World, what they're making fun of, the flashback blurry fade.
Right, yeah.
And then we're back. It may even have the sound effects, as Mike noted. There are sound effects all throughout this movie, so if there are sound effects there, would not be surprised.
Yeah. So now we're flashing back, and it's funny because he's having a flashback to something that he wasn't present for, which is an interesting cinematic move.
Yeah, and this is funny because I actually thought this was a different guy. I'm glad Mike watched this, but we get to see Bruce Campbell right off the bat.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell's right there. His character, his name at this point is just the Heel. I think he has a real name at some point, but he's so I don't even know how to sell this. The Vic Ajax he works for a like security systems company that is owned by two people, and one of the people is talking to Bruce Willis as the Heel about
Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell, Bruce Willis, yowza. To Bruce Campbell's the Heel, talking about, I think he wanted to sell it and turn it into a strip club.
Yeah, so I believe that's the case. He wants to do this and open a strip club. There are two owners to the security company, and it's Odengard. I think it's Odengard.
Yeah.
And
Trend, Mr. Trend. Yeah.
And Bruce Campbell is talking to Odengard.
Bruce Campbell is talking to Odengard. Mr. Trend hears this conversation and is just so upset. So he, as one would in this environment, he goes to the Yellow Pages because that's where you go to solve all your problems. And he finds an ad for some exterminators. It's a half-page ad in the Yellow Pages. And the ad reads that they take care of rats, mice, bats, roaches, men, and ants. Mm-hmm. And it has two pictures of the two members of this extermination team. One is just some guy who I don't recognize. The other is Kowalski from Blade Runner. Brian James.
Yeah, also in The Fifth Element.
Yes, yeah. Where did he learn to negotiate that one?
I do not know.
No. And he decides he's going to call these guys because they advertise in the Yellow Pages that they murder human beings as well as rodents. So he calls it, and he does it for his wife, Elaine.
It's truly a love story at the heart.
Yeah. So Vic is now kind of installing a security system. So apparently Mr. Trend lives right across the street from the building that his security company is.
I also noted that. It's super weird. He just walks into this building. I was like, what's happening? But then you see this background shot that highlights that the security building is across the street from where he lives, which does kind of make sense. It almost comes off as, a play performance because there's really only a few locations.
Right, yeah. They go to three places in this movie.
On the same street, pretty much.
And Vic is installing a security system. Does Vic live in this building?
I don't even know if that's established. I have a theory Vic Ajax doesn't sleep. It just seems like he's working around the clock. So
right.
I don't think so. I think he just works there.
Yeah, so Mr. Trend comes into the apartment building and he's looking a little frazzled. He accidentally walks into a broom closet.
I do note that the broom closet is full of Sudzo, Sudzo boxes.
Sudzo makes routine appearances in this movie. Yeah. It's never really explained, but there's a lot of Sudzo. And, Vic Ajax is like, oh, hey, Mr. Trend, I'm installing this thing. You walked into the closet, you big dum-dum. And then Mr. Trend goes on, he gives him a little, pep talk about because he's doing this for his wife. He's having his partner killed for his wife. So he's given Vic Ajax the, you'll have this someday. You'll feel what I feel. And as he's walking into his apartment, he's telling him this. And I like this line. Vic Ajax, as they're walking into Mr. Trend's apartment, and he's talking about how you can have all this someday. He's like, Mr. Trend, I'd love to have a foyer someday, but not on my salary.
And then soon he pulls out a book, if I have this in the right order, which is How to Talk to Girls. So Ajax is now consulting the literary geniuses who wrote this in chapter 1, The Perfect Woman. And he's just in plain sight reading this book and reading it out loud, which is great.
Yeah, not that's not what the ladies want to see, guys. Take it from us.
And then we meet the woman of his dreams.
The woman of his dreams, yeah. It's the classic. He sees her from outside, or he's in the building. She's crossing the street, and she gets hit by a truck, and the truck happens to be the truck of the exterminators. And he goes out there to help her as she gets hit, and that's love at first sight. And he mentions you maniacs as the truck drives off, and the one of the exterminators gets out. His name is Farron Crush. I think.
I don't know any of their names.
No,
I looked them up once, and I think I instantly forgot them.
And he's played by the actor Paul L. Smith, but apparently at some point Paul L. Smith really pissed off Sam Raimi. So Sam Raimi had all of his lines redone, like his ADR'd by a professional wrestler named Dick the Bruiser. I don't know 80s wrestling enough to know who that is, but it is very apparent that there is only one character with ADR voiceover, and it's ridiculous.
And I feel this is where we need our guest cameo Lamar Sutton to answer all of our wrestling questions that are going to pop up.
He would be on this. We'll ask him next time. But yeah, so he hears him call him maniac. He gets out of the van. No one calls me maniac, but in a much weirder voice. And then he fucking bonks Vic Ajax on the head. Not like he doesn't punch him. He bonks him. It's like you know what I mean. There's a bonk.
And it probably has a sound effect. Bonk.
There definitely.
And then rolls up Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell. So we notice, or maybe we don't notice, that the girl that got hit by the van, the girl of his dreams, was one of the nuns from the beginning of the movie. Nancy. And Vic is trying to do some awkward flirting here, and his line is, "Would you like to have some lunch with me some evening?" Which is a Spider-Man. He reuses Sam Raimi reuses that line in Spider-Man.
Verbatim?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's a line from wow, who's Spider-Man?
Peter Parker?
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Parker?
Tobey Parker to Kirsten Dunst. Doesn't work then either. She says no. He's like, well, I'll pay. All the while he has this like How to Talk to Women book in his hand. So then this is when Bruce Campbell shows back up, and his name is Ronaldo.
Yes.
He puts the cigarette on Vic's hand. He asks Nancy to come drown a couple olives with him. And she's into it because he's Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, then we jumped to something. I can't really read my notes. I was like, where did they go? Cut to a city scene?
Yeah, there's like a city scene, and there's like a bad storm rolling in. Like telephone poles are falling over, things are blowing around. There's a newspaper that like blows into the screen. Did you see the headline on the newspaper?
Yeah, I actually wrote a bunch of things from it. So the newspaper flies to the screen, so it's like, boom, right to the center of the screen. Like you, the audience member, got hit in the face with it. Storm, city in chaos. That's what it notes. And I wrote some of the other stories in it, so I paused it really quick because it seemed like a lot was written on this.
There's an Evil Dead reference in this newspaper.
Is it the time-space disturbance?
Yeah. Military seal off Tennessee murder site, time-space disturbance discovered.
Yeah, that was awesome. And then there was something like Gold at Museum Elks chapter to honor noted Texas like newbie or something. I don't know. But yeah, the city's in chaos. It's crumbling. Power lines are coming down. Oh no. And then, we go to the next scene.
Yeah, and the next scene is the exterminator van again being driven by whatever that guy's name is, and Brian James. And this is Sam Raimi uses this camera trick a lot. It's like the evil in Evil Dead. It's like fast, kind of choppy first person, and like we see the van from its point of view driving down this alley. We find out that Brian James, I don't remember what his character's name is, but he talks like a rat for some reason.
Yeah, I'm gonna just be pretty direct. Every time it cuts to the exterminators, it is my least favorite thing about this film. They talk in weird voices. It's only making it more confusing. You can't really hear every word. I mean, I understand the majority, but it's so annoying you want rid of it. This is really where it becomes super cartoony. Just really, really, really weird cartoony. I think the grit I'm looking for is Crumb, like the artist Crumb who would draw. But like that was funny, and this seems like kind of like a dark ripoff that doesn't have the grit or merit to back itself, which is kind of unfortunate because I love everyone associated with this film, but oof. I mean, again, The Exterminator's worst part for me.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the combination of Brian James talking like a rat, or like, I mean, to reference Roger Rabbit again, like the weasel, you know.
Yeah, I don't want to do this because it's just so annoying, but something like me, 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 me. Like that's how it's talking constantly, and it's awful.
Yeah, and then the other guy, Farron Crush, just like I won't do it justice trying to do an impression, but he's like gut laughing the whole time, like it's just bizarre.
Yeah.
But so they're on their way to kill the partner because you know they've been hired. So we back up in the apartment, one of the three places in this movie, we have the partner that hired them, whose name I said earlier, but I don't remember.
There's Odegaard and
Trend. So Mr. Trend's up there with his wife, played by Louise Lasser, who I don't know, but she looks like a clown. So one of the pieces of trivia about her that I found. Did you see this? Did you look this up at all?
I only read up a couple.
Okay. She apparently was like one night during filming got super coked up and fired her makeup person. And they just didn't replace her with a new makeup person because this woman is apparently crazy, and she insisted on doing her own makeup. So if in the movie, you will see her progressively looking more and more ridiculous, just like a painted clown. Because like she on all coked up is not putting the blush on right.
Rabbit Troop Sucks has been brought to you by painted coked up clowns.
Painted coked up clowns. So she's looking out the window with binoculars for some reason. I don't know if this is like a normal thing for her, but she's like, you know, hey husband, you know, your partner's still working. Why is he still working? Is he still there? I don't know. This is crazy. And Trend is like, he knew he was going to be there because he hired the guys to kill him. He's like, just stop looking out the goddamn window. It's fine. Because he doesn't want her to see anything.
And this gives us a perspective too. Anytime there's now some transitional shots. So the main areas are going to be this club, the security area, and the apartment building, and she is overlooking those other areas. And that's really kind of like almost like a triangle of the majority of the film. And later there's a highway chase scene, but beyond that, the majority of this film takes place in almost that square, rectangle, triangle kind of area.
Yeah, most of this movie takes place between the apartment and the store next door or across the street. But so she thinks something's up. She wants Trent to go take a look, and he's like, you know what? Fine, I'll go look. You know, just to put her at ease, and he can lie and say everything's fine, even though he knows his partner's getting killed, and his partner is getting killed by Kowalski, who has this weird electrocution device. It's like they're like two electric batons hooked up to like.
Maybe this was the inspiration for the air gun.
Oh, like in No Country for Old Men. Yeah, maybe.
Because I kept thinking this is such a weird device. Like it
right.
So it basically is just. I mean, it's not, but it looks like some kind of alien device.
Right.
Like someone crafted something off a UFO and just made this, and it's super weird, and it's not fitting in the movie at all.
No,
these people have some weird sci-fi device that evaporates
it's not mentioned
people.
at all. It's like an oscilloscope that's like strapped around his neck with these two batons. It's like in Flight of the Conchords in Carol Brown where he makes his own guitar.
Right.
It's like that.
If this was black and white, shout out to my dad. This would be some kind of Flash Gordon moment where it'd be like flicker on and off light, zip, 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 and then all of a sudden the smoke appears, and then that person's gone, like you've been hit with the gamma ray.
Yeah, maybe this is where they got the inspiration from Iron Man 2.
I think this is where they got the inspiration from drugs.
They definitely got the inspiration from drugs.
Yeah.
So Kowalski pops up, and with his weird electric dildo machine, he electrocutes the partner as planned. Trend walks in and sees the dead body and goes, he doesn't see Kowalski there anymore. But he looks out the window and he tries to give the thumbs up to his wife, saying like, no, it's fine. Just, I'm going to come home. And then my notes are a little choppy here, but
We're back at the club. My notes.
we are back at the club. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's turned into some kind of weird party. So we're back at the club.
Club Rialto, which
yeah.
was also the name of a club in Denver that is not
really
open anymore. Yeah.
This has been brought to you by
Rialto.
Nice.
Rialto. It was one of the. So this is going to be super boring for everyone not from Denver. But when the Congress Park, the place right up the street from where we're sitting, they had that like company closed down. Rialto was one of the ones that went down with them.
Oh,
yeah, Rialto and I can't remember any of the other ones. This is super great radio. Moving on, Denver.
Places that can't afford rent in Denver.
Places that cannot afford rent in Denver that we used to go to.
Yeah, so we're at this weird party. I wrote to the side that Nancy is just the worst.
Yeah.
She is just leading Ajax on. Well, in some ways. I mean, clearly she's been up front, but now we're at a point in time where now she's actually leading Ajax on because she's trying to make Ronaldo jealous. Ronaldo's walked off. He's hitting on other people, and she's getting really uptight about this, which makes sense, but she's now flirting with Ajax, and he's like, oh, this is great, but she's really just using him. And this is really weird because this whole movie is trying to build a love story between Ajax and Nancy. And spoiler, it does happen. How it gets there, really, in this movie? Hell no. I have no idea.
Nobody knows. So, so Nancy's there. She starts out there with Bruce Campbell, but he's being a big old dick. And he tries to split the bill with her, I think.
Yeah.
But he doesn't even pay like his half because he's doing some kind of weird math.
But yeah, he rounds up by like $1 or something. He's like, I'll pay that extra $1, even though you had more of the appetizer.
Right. So, and then he immediately walks away from her and starts hitting on other women.
Yeah.
So Nancy sees Vic and is like, you know what? I'm gonna piss off Bruce Campbell by pretending to like Vic, and it doesn't really work because Bruce Campbell's got he's onto his own thing. He walks up to a girl who's at the bar drinking at the bar. He says, "I haven't seen you here before. I like that in a woman." Which I thought was a pretty good.
And then there's like, keep talking, baby.
Yeah, and then there's some more like weird sound effects. It's like the.
Yeah, every time someone does the gun point, like points out, like flicks out there, like things. Yeah, you hear that like ba-pew, ba-pew, like that was some kind of laser gun, but it's like ba-bang, ba-bang, zip, zip, like he's shooting bullets. And how they implement these cartoon moments, there's even a little bit of an animated smoke scene that you see. It's just like rolling the dice. Like, are we going to have one here? Sure. Or maybe it's, do we have the budget? We have 3 times we could do this. Like, pull it out of a hat when we do it. It's not consistent whatsoever. No,
it's super weird. We bounce back to the store, the security store.
Yeah.
Farron crushes there. He sees Kowalski and he once again bonks him. Because Kowalski, I think he punches out Trend, the guy that hired him, and the other guy's like, that's the guy who hired us, and then Kowalski in his rap voice, it's two for one, and they all have a good laugh, and that kind of sets up the scene that these guys are now officially having a crime wave.
Oh yeah,
they didn't just kill the one guy, they killed 2 guys because I think they killed Trend, right? He's not alive.
Yeah, it just basically happens like Trend is in the wrong place, wrong time. I don't know if they purposefully do it, but I think it was more of like the gamma ray gun goes off, or someone kind of turns on and does it, and they're like, whoopsies, and then like that's it. Like now both the partners are dead.
Yeah. And now we're bouncing right back to the club.
Yeah, I actually note this. We're about halfway through the movie, and this is a little more like scene, like bang, bing, bong. Like the editing starts to become kind of abrupt. It's, we've killed Trent, cut the club. It's very quick. Did you notice that?
It was very quick. And I mean, just as kind of like a side production note, we're not always going to just go scene by scene through these movies.
Right.
I know that's kind of been our way, but I think at some point just kind of talking through the themes of movies and the plot trajectory is going to be where we're going to go. But like for some of these movies, like if you don't just go scene by scene, none of it makes sense.
Yeah, and this is a movie that just almost doesn't make sense by even doing it.
Yeah. So I mean, just for the sake of trying to trying to narrate this in a way that I don't know if our intent is to make you want to see it or to wish, just be glad that you haven't, or maybe somewhere in between, but just to kind of to sell you on the idea of this movie that this is kind of how we're gonna be going about this.
And if I'm not mistaken, then we basically just go right back to the club, right?
Yeah, we're back at the club,
and Nancy's highlighting like, so do you have $36? And Ajax is basically saying, no, I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah.
And so, as luck would have it, what's announced? A dance contest, and the winner will get $36, and they enter it.
Yeah, yeah. It was one of those, like, the TV announces the thing that the star of the movie needs. So
yeah, like Nancy says something like, "If I only had $36, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna have a dance contest, and the winner will get $36."
Right, and so you see them start dancing, and then it is a hard cut to them just washing dishes.
Yeah, I have to give it to everyone. I did not foresee just the quick fail. It is just immediately. They didn't come close. The look on Nancy's face, as I said, I don't like Nancy right now. Nancy does change a bit for me. And I don't blame the person who plays Nancy. Just, it was the writing that's choppy. But Nancy is so put off doing these dishes. Mm-hmm. And it's just clear that she's not mad at Ajax. She's just mad at everything.
Yeah, she's bummed out. And now we're back at the apartments. The wife of the clown wife,
Trend.
Yeah, Trend's wife. She sees the exterminators loading a corpse into the car downstairs, and she throws a flower pot at them.
Yeah, there's a lot of flower pots.
A lot of
Home Alone 2 action going on.
And then now they start coming at her. Farron Crush is the one. He's making his way through the apartment. He looks under and so thankfully, because this apartment building's apparently owned by a security company, there's cameras everywhere. She has monitors for every camera in this building.
Yeah, that was a super weird reveal. I mean, yes, I guess it makes sense because your husband owned a securities company, but it's just weird that she's looking out the window with binoculars this whole time.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I mean, I would imagine in 85, she has a $50,000 array of video cameras, pointing to everywhere in the building. But I want to backtrack. Let's get a little personal here.
Okay,
Mike.
yeah.
So let's go back to binoculars.
Okay.
So a long time ago, when Mike and I were younger men, we were hanging out at a bar.
Boy.
We came back to my house, and we were just hanging out watching movies or doing whatever. I mean, which leads to now I was just watching silly movies in any given week. And I'm looking out the window, and I'm seeing this tussle from across the street. And I'm like, "Hey, Mike, come over here." And so now Mike's looking at this.
We're looking at this. You're, fifth floor?
No, it was the third. And
third
this
floor,
is probably 1:30 in the morning on a Saturday or maybe a Friday.
It might have been later than that.
Yeah, it could have definitely been later than that. Do you want to describe what you saw, Mike?
Yeah, so Paul summons me to the balcony, and we're outside looking at this tussle going on. And I'm looking, and Paul is next to me one moment. I turn, he's gone. I turn again, and he is back with binoculars. He has just reappeared, and he's pulling a Helen here. He's got the binoculars.
You got to know where binoculars are.
Yeah, apparently. Are we going to explain what we saw, or is that like for the?
No, we should explain, and the dilemma we were in, because what then followed was like what you see in movies, someone experiencing an acid trip and then questioning their own reality.
Yeah, it was a weird fever dream. There was a woman, I say a woman, she was like a girl, she was like probably 22 years old.
Young 20s.
Yeah, young 20s. And she was sitting on like the stoop of this apartment building.
Yeah, she was getting into an argument, and as other young men would do, we just watched it from a balcony.
Of course.
Like it was Jerry Springer live action.
Right, but she's sitting down on the stoop, and her boyfriend, I guess, is standing up and kind of like pacing around, but like, gesticulating and like yelling at her. You can't really tell what he's saying. And then all of a sudden, he just drop kicks her in the head.
Yeah, and like all jokes aside, I mean, this is not the funny part of the story by any means.
No.
Mike and I are alarmed, and so you got to think it's 2 a.m. or later. Mike and I are younger men. We've had some drinks. what do we do? Who are we going to call? We're talking about this. Do we call the cops? What,
Right.
do, we,
Like,
what do we do?
How do we explain this? Like, this guy just drop kicked a woman in the head.
So we're like moments away, literally, from calling the cops.
Right.
Like, hey, we're going to try to piece this situation together and be like, listen, we've had some drinks. It's 2 a.m. This is the weird story I saw while looking at some neighbors outside. So I have to say that.
Right. We would have put the binoculars away.
Something stopped us. And I'm like, how do you want to describe these, I think, 3 additional women that appear?
Yeah.
So this guy scampers off. This woman's crying, and then 3 more women appear.
Right, but they're not like normal women. They're like gypsy women.
Mike is not exaggerating.
No, they're wearing like not like bathrobes. They're wearing like
Princess Jasmine scarves.
yeah,
This is not,
scarves and robes and like the little finger symbols, and they come like ethereally dancing out of this building. And I know that sounds ridiculous,
but it's not a joke. And
no.
we're not on drugs, and we only had a few drinks into this. We are of our own wits.
Right. And so like they comfort her, they like drape a blanket over.
I do remember this woman kind of like gives it a right arm sash around the front and into her back, and then comforts her by like hugging her. It's like this one magical wipe.
It's like when
move.
It's like when they're leading James Brown off stage with the cape. It was like that. They just kind of draped this thing over, and I couldn't hear what they were saying, but in my mind it was like, shh, she's coming with us.
Yeah. So now we're at a point where we don't call anyone because other people are involved and clearly know what's happening.
Right. They're inside. Everything seems fine. I don't want to explain this to 911.
Right. Like, hey, we were going to call, and then 3 genies popped up and whisked her away. And how are you doing? And then Mike and I wake up in the drunk tank the next day, or probably, in some kind of like psychiatrical evaluation. So sorry, side note, but we're going to tell you some tales along the way and the observations we've made here at our home base of Denver, Colorado.
That's right. Yeah. So that was our fun binocular story, and Helen is having hers. But Farron Crush he's on his way. He looks under the door. She stabs him in the eye with a fork because she could see that he's looking under the door because she has cameras. Then he does a full body, and then it makes a freight train noise, and he just runs through the door, I think. Yeah,
and then it goes back to that Evil Dead style at points in time, and when he gets through, because there's that first person. I think that's when he starts throwing things.
Yeah. He ends up in the apartment. The wife is throwing dishes and furniture at him, and he like crouches down and he grabs the carpet and he just pulls the entire carpet towards him.
Yeah, this is weird.
Or the apartment by the carpet.
This is like a Tom and Jerry moment that someone's trying to run away, but someone keeps grabbing the carpet and they're actually pulling this person closer. Also, I wanted to give actually another shout out to a Denver establishment. When they're throwing all the plates and various other things, I noted it was like, wow, this looks like a smash room. And I recently went to a smash room in Colorado, in Denver. It's at 790 West Evans. It's called Smash It Break Room. I've never been to one. They give you crazy amounts of weapons. My wife and I went in there. We got 20 minutes in a room, and we just beat the hell out of appliances. You get to throw plates. I took an aluminum baseball bat to a microwave, and that microwave will not forget the lesson I taught it. It was super cool. Have you been to a break room or a smash room?
No, I have not.
It's really cool. And at first, I was like, 20 minutes. Like, is that enough? I was sweating by the end of it. I mean, I just went into like, I'm going to beat everything at the last few minutes. And we had some makeshift mace and we had a crowbar. It was super awesome. Smash rooms. Yeah, you should totally go. We should make that the group outing. Let's go to a smash room and then review a movie.
Podcast field trip to smash room.
Nice.
I like it. At this point, a neighbor, a well-meaning neighbor, comes into the room to help because he senses something going on. It's a guy who was shaving. His face is covered in shaving cream, and the criminal the Crimewave guy just kind of clowns on him a little bit, turns the lights off. This scene isn't particularly interesting, but he basically tricks this guy into running out the window.
Yeah, that was a super weird move.
Yeah.
But we do get to see that guy later on. I thought, is that guy dead? He is not.
He is not. He is not. But then, now, quick cut, we're back at the club. We're in the club.
Wait, no, before it happens, then the guy gets up and a truck does run him down.
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, you're right. He does. He survives the fall somehow. But then the big exterminator truck which has a giant rat on the top of it.
Runs him down. But I do think we see this guy again even later. That's what I was thinking.
Well, I think we see his corpse being drug around.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, one way or another.
Yeah, no, he's coming. He's
You're working
back.
for a living.
Yeah. So the club is closing. Vic is leaving. He's in a great mood. Nancy's not in a great mood. He's like, you know what? Things could have been a lot worse. Nancy's not buying it. Then a truck drives by and just misses him, but covers her in mud.
It does look like poop. I noted
it
that.
does. It does.
It doesn't just look like standard mud. It looks like someone opened, like lunch line pudding and just threw it all over.
Yeah. And so for me now, this kind of starts getting a little disjointed because there's kind of the cuts are coming fast and quick.
Yeah, I mean, just to jump into it, like they basically get into the building, like you noted that.
Yeah, they get into the building.
And they're trying to call, like people are trying to call the cops. And
the police do show up.
And then you get a very Scooby-Doo cut where, like, the Exterminator 1 goes into a door, shuts it, and then a police officer goes in that door, and then someone comes out another door, and 3 people come out of a door. And
it's like we're one yakety sacks away from this being a Benny Hill routine.
Yeah.
The police are, one of the cops is wearing sunglasses at night, and the other one, I believe, is just chain smoking.
Yeah.
There's like a kid in the elevator who...
I forgot about this.
So they're trying to get up the elevator, but it's doing that like stop at every floor thing, and it finally gets down, and this little snotty kid's in there. He's like, "I'm the captain of the elevator," and he just gets his ass tossed right out of the elevator.
They literally just like throw a child. They pick him up by his the back of his shirt, and just toss him as far as humanly possible. I did think that was somewhat comical because it's clearly just ridiculous.
Yeah. So at this point, the result of the Scooby-Doo chase scene upstairs is that now Kowalski is in Nancy's apartment with Vic and Nancy. Nancy's like getting cleaned up, and Vic is he's wearing like a frilly apron and doing her laundry, I think, because he's a well-established at this point little puss boy. And Kowalski is just kind of hiding in there, and they're doing this bit where like each one will think they're talking to the other one, but it's really just Kowalski doing an impression. So Vic will be like, yeah, like, I really like you. And he's like, I like you too. And he like, they don't know. And then Nancy's like, this wasn't such a bad night. And he's like, I like you too, but I'm a bitch boy. It's kind of a weird.
Yeah, he actually, I think he uses this later too. Like all of a sudden he has this power that he could also like imitate anyone's voice at any point in time.
He can. And there's also a scene where he's like, anticipating what people will say.
Yeah. I noted, is this Zartan from G.I. Joe?
It is like Zartan.
Yeah, I mean, outside of physical disguises, this guy could just blend in. Like, he will blend in.
Yeah. Let's see.
I have something that someone says, I'm not a bad guy, or am I? And I just wrote that off to the side. I don't remember in what context that was.
I don't have that note. What I do have is the captain of the elevator, the little kid, shows up again, and he's now dragging the dead body of the guy that tried to help Helen earlier with the shaving cream on his face. And the cops are looking at this dead body, and they go, what kind of a maniac would kill a man in cold blood and jelly up his face with shaving cream? and the kid just looks up at him all proud and goes, my dad. And then like one of the apartment doors open, and it's apparently the kid's dad. The cops look at him and then just arrest all of them.
As you would.
As you would, yeah. Now, so we're back in the predictive text room where the couple is trying to talk to each other, and Kowalski's just kind of narrating in between.
Yeah, if we didn't notice this before, there's these gaps. So, we see Ajax in the present. Hey coppers, before you hit the electric chair switch, let me get in my last words. And it's so disjointed. As Mike just brought it up, I mean, I almost forgot that they panned back. I mean, yeah. I honestly think there was like 45-minute gap once before we even got back to that, which was kind of huge.
I mean, honestly, so I mentioned I watched this movie twice. When we're doing these movies, especially if I haven't seen them, I like watching it and not taking notes just so I can kind of absorb the movie. And then I rewatch it and I take notes. Because if I take notes the first time, I won't really enjoy it. Enjoy is a strong word to use for this, but
Yeah, and also, especially with this movie, I know there's a couple gaps that clearly we're not going to edit out, but
Right.
I mean, going through it, it's such a weird, disjointed film that I wrote more notes for this film than we've done for any other ones, and that's why
Yeah.
sometimes I just can't read my handwriting
Yeah.
because if we're going to pause this movie, I mean, it would take 7 hours to watch it.
you know what? There's going to be gaps. This is a free podcast.
there's gonna be gaps.
You know, you don't know us anything.
And with that, we
can
get
wait.
just Trent's wife escaping. She's out in an alley, and we get to jump through that because really not a lot happens. It's a lot of alley running.
Yeah, and so she escapes and she runs into Vic outside, and Vic goes, "Hey, be careful. There's maniacs out here." And Farron Crush hears this again and says, "I told you not to call me a maniac," and just fucking bonks him on the head again.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, he's getting all the bonks, not
and
the ones
I'm
he
sure
wants.
there's a sound effect.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, okay. So now we have Bruce Campbell again, and he is walking with another woman.
Yeah, it's the woman that he picked up
The
at
woman
bar.
that he picked up at the bar, and he's dressed like Jack the Ripper for some reason. He's
Yes.
wearing like a cape and a top hat, because that's what heels wear in this universe. And he gets, as the wife is escaping, she like one of those like old timey city fire escapes where the stairs like just are on like a bungee cord. I don't know if I'm
like they
explaining that
collapse
well.
up and
but
down.
you know what I'm talking about. And he just gets taken out by the stairs. And the wife runs down, doesn't pay any mind to Bruce Campbell, who she just killed. And she runs across the street into the security office, the company that her husband previously ran. And Farron Crush is chasing her, but she runs into something called the Parade of Protection, which
Yeah.
is billed as the safest hallway in the world. And it's just like it's a series of these little like micro rooms, each one kind of demonstrating a different security system, as far as I could tell. But so she's running down this infinite hallway, opening a door into this little room, opening another door.
Yeah, and it's a bird's eye view, almost a diagonal bird's eye view.
Diagonal bird's eye view,
Each
yeah.
wall is really this off color, like this weird faded, retro, but like drab 80s pink, this yellow, this maybe like off green. It's super weird. It looks like she's running through houses in Edward Scissorhands.
It does, yeah.
Just a wall at a time.
Right, and so, but she's opening the doors and closing each one behind her. Farron Crush is just like running like the juggernaut through through these walls, just crashing them down. She gets to the end, and it's like this big metal wall, and she kind of pushes it, and then it starts like dominoing all these other walls towards him, and we have like a Buster Keaton moment where he just kind of like crouches down, but the walls fall, and he's just in like the doorway, and he's fine. But then she escapes. And I want to say this might be the last time that we see the wife.
Yeah, maybe.
So-
I was also looking for notes on that too. I think you might be right.
Yeah, so I'm going to explain it as I observed it, and it's going to sound weird. So she runs out of, I guess, this office and jumps over like an alley wall.
Yep.
And immediately lands into an air freight box.
Yep.
That is billed as being going to Uruguay. La Cucaracha plays for a second, and she is never seen again. Presumably, she was shipped to Uruguay.
And then I somewhere have Ajax obtains a car where a car pulls up along this way. Ajax is outside. Is this roughly where you're at?
Yeah. So
This guy pulls up and he basically stops a car and he says, "Maniacs are after my girl." And he says something else, and this guy just calmly gets out and goes, "You love her, son?"
yeah, this guy looks like Santa Claus, and he's just immediately in to loan Vic his car. So Vic is taking the car because Nancy has escaped, and she got into another car.
That's right.
And she is driving away, and the exterminators are in their rat van, and they're driving towards her. And so yeah, Vic commandeers this old man's station wagon that has like a ladder just sitting on the top of it for some reason. But
And now we're in a big highway pursuit.
We are.
We've left the square or triangle of areas all throughout the movie, and now we're outside of the prison, I guess. And then now we're on the highway.
we're on the highway. And fun fact here, the car that Nancy is in is the Oldsmobile Delta 88.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
notice that. That's awesome.
That's the car that is in every Sam Raimi movie.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a car chase. Kowalski gets on top of the he gets on top of the the rat van, I guess, and
No, so he's driving okay, there's three there's
okay.
three cars.
Keep me honest here.
There's the exterminator's van.
Yeah.
There's Nancy's car, and then now there's the car that Ajax is in. And so Ajax is in the middle, and the van keeps banging up against Ajax's car, and Nancy at some point in time is like, jump to my car. Just like, get out of your car and jump to my car. Or that happens later. He's like fighting them off. It's very cartoonish, but eventually jumps out of his car.
Yeah, he jumps out of his car, and he has a couple key lines here as he's doing this. One is he says, "Make way for Victor. You're under citizen's arrest, fella, and taste justice."
I mean, they you got to taste justice,
right? And he has a bat. I guess there was a bat in the car, and he's beaten Kowalski with the bat, and they have a little tussle on top of the. I don't remember how Vic got on top of the exterminator van, but he's there now.
Yes, and now they're fighting like it's Teen Wolf.
Yeah, they're fighting on top of the van. He kind of kicks Kowalski to the curb, and he tries to jump off to Nancy's car, and we get the trademark Army of Darkness Spider-Man tally ho. He gives a tally ho as he jumps off the car. It doesn't work. He's kind of stranded between the two, and Kowalski appears again, and he has his weird little electric baton set from earlier.
Yeah, whatever weapon that was.
Yeah, but it doesn't work. Vic with his bat just kind of beats him down. He says, "Swift justice," I think is what I wrote.
Yeah, he gets really up on his high horse. This is like a weird turning point for Ajax, where he's been this total wimp, and I'll give it to him. He understands that Nancy's in trouble. He wants to help her, honestly, regardless. But he becomes this like weird, quirky 20s crime fighter. Like, listen here, see, like I'm gonna bring you to justice. And
right, he's Dick Tracy all of a sudden.
yeah, like this has never been established in this movie whatsoever. But all of a sudden, this guy has some weird change of attitude.
Yeah, he's getting his nut. So shit. There's like a car crash at some point.
There's just a lot of fighting.
Yeah, there's a lot of fighting. So, and eventually, I don't remember what happened to Kowalski, but he's somewhere.
Yeah, no, he's dead because I think.
He gets like clotheslined by an overpass.
Yeah, so Ajax is like, there's an overpass, and this guy looks up, he's like, yeah, nice try or something. But then there's not, but then there actually is, and then he's dead.
And then there's like a little car crash, and
Nancy flips the car over.
Yeah, Nancy flips the car over, and then Farron Crush is like trying to like be broy with Vic, I think, and he tries to like shake his hand. He's like, you know what, I was wrong. Like,
well, he gets knocked off, doesn't he? Oh no, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Well, I don't even know at this point.
Yeah, it's all disjointed.
Yeah, like there was like a trick. Like one of the exterminators is like, "Don't let me die," and it's like, "Oh, really?" And that was the guy, Brian James, and then he tricked him. And I don't remember the handshake with the other exterminator.
Yeah, but Vic gets bonked in the head again by Farron Crush. I don't even know what's happening at this point.
Yeah, there's a bunch of fighting and a bunch of stuff happening.
Right, and then we end up with the car hanging off the cliff thing. So Nancy's in the car hanging off the cliff. Vic is trying to save her. He's fighting with the one live exterminator. They get into a sword fight, kind of. So Farron Crush like rips the bumper off of a car and is using it like a club. And somehow summoning amazing strength, Vic is like rips a guardrail off and he's using that as a sword to defend himself. It's very weird. And we have the car hanging over this bridge. And so this is another fun piece of trivia I saw. This is actually the Detroit River. And when they were filming, it was frozen because it was the wintertime. So, but they needed water there because, for a thing later. So they used dynamite to blow up the ice so that they could have water. Because it was the 80s and no one gave a shit.
Also, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell are both from Michigan. I would not be surprised if someone's like, I know who these guys are. Our city's going to be in this movie. Heck yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of Michigan references all throughout Sam Raimi's career, so he's probably in good with the state.
Yeah, so the tussle continues. Farron Crush falls into the river. The car kind of teeters a little bit.
Yeah, and he's not dead yet.
He's not dead yet. So he
This
falls,
is GoldenEye-esque.
Yeah. He falls into the river, and the car's teetering, and he looks up, and he gives a whoa, 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 and the car just falls right on his face. Nancy's saved. At the last minute, Vic catches her. That old chest.
I want to note this: Vic catches her right here.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happens?
We don't know what happens because we don't really see it. They talk a little bit. But there's not really any explanation of what happens because we cut immediately back. We're in the prison again, and Vic is explaining that that the people you need to find Nancy. Nancy will clear me. The guards are just kind of clowning on him, and now we cut back. Do you have additional notes, or am I kind of on track
I'm just
here?
looking at they walk off this overpass. Now we're back at the electric chair.
Yeah,
and I don't know. Because this is a crucial moment because they're about to flip the switch, and I note that I think it's the person who's about to flip the switch. I kept noting that he looks like the old man from Phantasm. I forgot this name.
Yeah, no, he definitely does.
And he's kind of smiling the whole time.
Yeah, he's stoked.
But we're cutting back to Nancy again. That's one scene that was super out of context.
Right, the nun's driving.
Yeah, Nancy's a nun. Apparently, I didn't even know that was Nancy the first time I saw it. I know Mike saw this twice, recently. But I did not know that was Nancy the first time because, again, they all look like the flying nuns. She's with a bunch of nuns going down, and she runs in, and this is kind of funny. There's a crowd waiting, watching the electric chair and the execution, and they're waiting for the switch to be pulled. And then there's the governor shows up.
Right. And they think he's gonna pardon him.
Yeah,
he's like, oh no, I just wanted to watch.
Yeah, his quote was, so you think the phone's gonna ring, this guy's gonna stop it, maybe these nuns are there, and they look at the governor and he goes, oh, I didn't want to miss this.
Right. Yeah, so Nancy busts in, she's like, no, he's innocent. It's fine. And
Nancy highlights, I thought you were dead, and I joined.
She says, "I thought you were dead, and I wandered for days." And Vic says, "What were you wondering about?" and then none of that is ever explained.
Right, and then she became a nun.
Right, she
joined the nunnery.
I wandered for days, and I was taken in by a convent. I wrote covenant because I'm an idiot, but
or a coven of nuns.
It was a coven of nuns.
It's always a coven of nuns. Should definitely be someone's band name. Definitely should be a metal band.
We'll look that up. I'll buy the domain. I'm into buying websites now. It's my thing. Yeah. So she's like, no, you got to believe me. I'm a nun now for whatever reason. I was just about to take my vow of silence, but I gotta tell you about this guy's innocence. And everyone in the prison's like, okay, can anyone else corroborate this? And she's like, the nuns can, but
all the nuns can highlight it. Yeah, because he's if we didn't establish this, which I don't even know if I knew at this time, he is being they're gonna flip the switch and execute him for the death of Nancy.
Yeah, so they think he is responsible for the crime wave.
Yeah,
everyone that has died, the two business partners, I think they think Nancy's dead. They think Nancy's dead, and also the exterminators, who they don't know are the real crime wavers.
Right,
they think he killed them. I mean, he did, but
Nancy just really screwed him over. Like, hey, we're on this overpass. You went to the bathroom. Like, you went to a convenience store to use the restroom. I just bolted and joined. And
that's really accurate because the last time we see Nancy or Vic before the prison thing, they are on the bridge alive and talking to each other.
Also, let's talk about the judicial system here. Okay, so there must have been a trial. There was court proceedings of some sort. Now he's on death row. That's not happening overnight. This must be years. How the hell long was this? And did Nancy not read a single newspaper? She never heard about this. This dude is rotting away in prison, and she's like, "Oh, I became a nun. I didn't know any of this." What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, the whole ending is very, very weird and disjointed.
Well, we're not over, and then we just flash to a wedding. Boom, they get married, and that's the end of the film.
Yeah,
bam.
Well, they do the newspaper flash again, where it's like extra, extra, and it kind of spins around
into your face,
and they have like the fake out. It's like hero executed, almost, and then it shows them at the wedding, and they get married, and the last line of the movie is Vic looking at the camera and in the goofiest voice, like, she likes me. Oh. And then Nancy kind of gives an eye roll, and then the movie's over.
Yeah, I know that. Does she not? Yeah, so let's kind of summarize. Nancy did not like this guy whatsoever.
No.
There's really no attraction.
No.
Nancy kind of leaves. He does help her out of a jam, but then she falls in love with him, but thinks he's dead, becomes a nun. He rots away, but hey, everything's cool and they get married. That is literally the end of this film.
Yeah.
I cannot recommend this film at all.
No one should watch this. This is bananas.
Yeah, if you're a diehard Sam Raimi film, you should watch it because there are some cool scenes, as we noted, cool lines, cool cameos. Bruce Campbell is absolutely the best in this movie. I mean,
Yeah.
So maybe can I not recommend it? Again, if you're a Sam Raimi or Bruce Campbell fan, absolutely you'll have fun, but you're probably not going to want to own it or watch it again. This wouldn't be the movie you're like, I bought it, I'm going to show it to my friends, this is really fun. For me, some of it was actually trudging through it. Everything with the exterminators was really difficult for me to watch. It was just so boring.
It was pretty challenging.
And awful. It's just not funny. But there are a couple other moments. I could see what they were trying to go for. It wasn't my type of movie.
No.
Yeah.
Oddly, this movie, out of all the movies we've done so far, this has the highest rating.
Yeah, I mean, I have to assume it's because people love Sam Raimi. They love Bruce Campbell.
Yeah,
Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi are kind of trying to highlight this isn't good. Please don't judge me on it. That's apparently all the trivia that we both read.
Yeah, I think the reason people like this movie is I think the same reason that The Fucking Room is played every midnight movie.
Yeah.
Every Saturday at the whatever that theater is. Yeah, like people just liking something because they think they should because they're fucking idiots. This movie sucks. If this movie had gone off the way Sam Raimi wanted to, if Bruce Campbell had played the main character,
that would have been way better.
Would have been way better. If they had not 80-yard Farron Crush's voice, I don't know what the other actor sounds like, but it had to have been better.
I would have felt better about all of the exterminator scenes.
And if they didn't make Brian James talk like a goddamn rat.
I like Brian James. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I do as well.
I just thought that, like, wow, you just kind of ruined this character, this actor's job in here.
The plot being bananas wasn't my issue. It's just, there were just little things. Like, yeah, if the things that I just highlighted had been changed, I think this movie would be, like, infinitely watchable.
Yeah,
like,
it might not be anyone's favorite, but I definitely think a lot of people would think, wow, this is more funner. This is early Sam Raimi. I see what's going on. But yeah, I totally agree with Mike. Some massive changes, and if they were made, it would have really...
Right.
It would have made this movie stand up.
Because it's got some fun Sam Raimi stuff, especially if you like his other movies, like all the weird call-outs, the newspaper thing with the Evil Dead stuff. I mean, the car is in all of his movies. Yeah, I mean, and you can even, there are moments where like that Coen Brothers magic is showing through. Like someone put care into this in places, but I feel like they were just it was mentioned multiple times that the production company, you know, they put the kibosh on Bruce Campbell, and they were kind of making decisions that were contrary to what Sam Raimi wanted. I think if he had just been let run the show in his own way, I think it would have been a lot better.
I totally agree. Was Sam Raimi's brother in this at all?
I
thought I went through a really quick scan on IMDb, just like you're flipping through 20 people, didn't see him. And I
thought that was weird. I thought he would have made an appearance.
See, that's the thing. That was the kiss of death. What is his brother's name?
I don't know.
We need to look this up. Whatever his brother's name is, which I'll tell you in a second. I don't even know where to look for that.
Yeah, I don't know where to look either. Something Raimi, probably.
That is probably not the most...
I don't know who he would have played, but yeah, I mean, Bruce Campbell obviously should have played the main character. I don't think Sam Raimi's brother is like attractive enough to have played the heel character that Bruce Campbell ended up playing, but he probably could have pulled that off. Or he could have played at least the guy with the shaving cream guy that got thrown out the window. Yeah, there are ways that this could have been decent. Please tell me you have his name because I'm running out of things.
I unfortunately don't.
Okay.
Middle brother of Ted and Ivan. Is it Ted Raimi?
It's Ted Raimi.
Yeah, maybe that was the kiss of death, that his brother was not in it. I do like his brother. We recently watched his brother in a shout-out Creep Show episode, which highlights the Evil Dead, that if anyone's watching Creep Show, you should totally watch that episode. I thought that one was so fun.
Yeah, that was a fun episode.
Yeah, his brother's a great time. He's not in it, so I'm thinking He should have been in it. I mean, I'm not angry with Sam Raimi. I'm not angry with Bruce Campbell, and I'm not angry with the Coen brothers. It's just not really a movie I can recommend. Well, a lot of the other movies we're looking at, I really have had more fun with. It is fun going through this. I don't feel this is regrettable for me because I do like films, and I do like 80s films, and I like this kind of style of film. Just for me, this kind of fell down, and as Mike said, that if there were some massive changes, this would have been a lot better for me.
Yeah, and it's a shame because watching it, there's promise. It could have been like a goofy, just like a goofy, fun movie, but it missed the mark there. But
now we have a goofy, fun movie coming up next time with our, I guess, reoccurring guest, Lamar Sutton.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about Disorderlies.
Yeah.
It's going to be bananas. I'm super looking forward to this. This is a movie all three of us have seen before. It was brought up last time by Lamar, and immediately we thought that should be the next time you're on the movie we talk about. Is there anything you want to tell anyone about Disorderlies in the last minute or so that we have?
Yeah, I mean, if you like 80s and 90s hip hop, well, I guess more 80s. So Disorderlies, for those who don't know, is a Fat Boys vehicle.
Yeah.
From 1987, where the Fat Boys play, like orderlies at a hospital, I guess.
Yeah.
And there's hijinks, and it's fun. This movie is pretty fun. It's ridiculous and it's not very good, but it's a lot of fun, especially if you like that era of music, because the soundtrack kind of slaps.
Yeah, the soundtrack's going to be a huge, probably, discussion piece all throughout this.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be. But it's a lot of fun. So, we look forward to talking about Disorderlies next time. Mm-hmm. Remember, you could hit us up at rabbittroopsuckspodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
You could also go to rabbittroopsucks.com.
Yes, you can do that.
I mean, there's a big possibility we never introduced ourselves. As always, I'm Paul, and next to me is Mike.
That's correct.
And next time we will be discussing Disorderlies. And in the meantime, in your heart, just remember, from Denver, Colorado, a shout out to all of you is Rabbit Troop Sucks.
Rabbit Troop Sucks.
Rabbit Troop Sucks. Normally we leave off with just some ending music, but today we have one of my oldest friends, Michael Dooley, is here visiting Colorado. Michael and I work together. Shout out to anyone who worked at a Wild Oats, especially Capitol Hill. But thanks for coming, Mike.
Thanks for having me here. I still haven't decided what song should play.
Well, I don't know what Mike's going to play for us, but this is Michael Dooley.
Let it all go down to the bottom of the sea, where I stand with you and the water is all we see. Every night we can swim in love, see stars through the blur of the liquid up above. Let it all go down to the bottom of the sea. Then we'll walk alone from now till eternity. Every day we can surface our minds, observe all within light of the sun chariot in the sky. Knowing the water is breathable, we are taking in all we may find. Some find this life is not feasible, so they will be the one left behind. Let it all go down to the bottom of the sea. Everlasting life, a chance for all to be free. Let it all go down to the bottom of the sea, where I stand with you and the water is all we see. Let Sorry, wrong chord.
Rabbit Troop sucks.
Fucking sucks.